Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. Thanks for tuning in for today's latest Grand Solar Minimum news update. First, let's start off with our space weather stats. Our solar wind speeds are coming in at 425.7 kilometers per second with a density of 5.7. Now check this out. 9 days in a row without sunspots, folks. We were talking about the possibility of seeing 15 plus days without sunspots, and it is looking like that could happen, or maybe even longer. We'll take a look here just in a few seconds, but that is now 9 days in 2021 without sunspots, and percentages, they seem to be bigger than what the actuality of it is, but technically speaking, 75% of the year is spotless so far. But I also anticipate more activity from our star moving into February, possibly mid-February. All right, so what does this mean? We're still at solar minimum conditions? Absolutely, we will be for a little while. TCI at 5.91. Now that's up from the last broadcast that we did, and I'll tell you why. We had a surprising, let's just say, a crack in the magnetic field. It did not trigger a geomagnetic storm, but it did give off some pretty nice looking solar or aurora in our sky, of course, in the northern part of our planet. And they are now associating the reason for the auroras. And let's just go ahead and go over to spaceweather.com. But they are now saying that this is related to the double filament that we had on January 8th. Also, I also might want to add as well, and let's go to Space Weather section here at grandsolarminimum.com. Check out this solar X-ray flux. That's just in the past several hours. Now, KP indices are now down, but we did have a KP of 4 for the later part of January 11th and early January 12th. This did not spark any G1 geomagnetic storms. All right. Close, but we did see the solar wind speeds go up a little bit. And to mention that, the TCI was higher as well, which was at 5.91. And I always associate, the last broadcast we did was at 5.85. And when we see an increase in solar wind speeds, we usually see the TCI going up just a tad. Sunspot activity, not a lot happening. And even though we see some bright active areas, and I'll show you the one in particular that I was talking about because I expected some kind of sunspot activity. We didn't get it. This one right here. I know you see this right here, but usually we're not going to see sunspots in this region of the star at this point in the cycle. It'd be a very rare occurrence. So we're looking here down the southern part or in the northern part of the 30, but not so much here. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm not saying it can't happen, but right now we're not expecting it. This is current right here on the eastern limb, almost Earth facing. And then we see on the very back side here, we might have another bright active region. But guys, other than that, right now we're at 9 days in a row without sunspots. Is it possible to see it get into the 20s on days without sunspots? I don't know. Right now, there is lack of activity that is occurring. And let's put this in motion really quick and take a look and see if we have any more coronal holes to deal with. At the time being, the very southern region of our star, this down here is a very slight chance of brushing up against our magnetic field. They're not expecting anything major from this, possibly a brief uptick in solar wind. Actually, it's this right here. That won't be for a few more days. So January 18th is when we're expecting solar wind from this particular region. Again, no geomagnetic activity expected, but this did develop rather quickly. So we'll have to continue to see if this gets bigger as time goes on. So the sun definitely showing us a minimum type sun right now. We started off pretty active in November, going into December. You would have thought, well, here's solar cycle 25, and then it's like someone turned the water off. In this case, the sun activity. And we are back to square one. Now, the significance of yesterday's events, KP indices going up, not quite G1 storm levels, and then you had solar proton flux going down and then back up again. Plus, we had low KPs before that, 0 on January 11th to a 2. And we think that right around the same time that we started getting these increased solar wind streams is when we saw the report on shallow 6.7 earthquake hits Russia. So there's your correlation of that solar wind smacking the magnetic field, give it a good jolt as it did, and we got the 6.7 earthquake. Now, I know I'd said on the last broadcast, I believe it was Saturday night, that we were on a 24-hour to 36-hour watch for an earthquake of 6.4 or higher. That was on January 8th. I was off by a day. But we did get that big jolt from the same region from the double filament when we reported that. That had an impact. So that's where we were expecting the possibility of some seismic activity. Now, honestly, I'm a little surprised that we got this big of an earthquake. And I say this big because it was a 6.8 and then was downgraded to a 6.7. Now, this was only a depth of 6.2 miles. And then it was followed by a 5.2 and a 5.0 aftershock. So a pretty strong initial earthquake, and then some stronger aftershocks as well to follow this earthquake. So the best that I can say is that these, yes, were in direct correlation of our sun. It's no coincidence that we had this crack in the magnetic field, this sudden burst of solar particles lighten up the ionosphere, our magnetic field, shaking us to the core, and here we are. A 6.7, like I said, it was reported as 6.8. This was yesterday, but went down to a 6.7, and we had 2 strong aftershocks after it. So just a little bit of correlation there. I wanted to point that out. That's why we do this channel. And the only reason why, now, I also said the location of the earthquake was going to be PNG, Indonesia, somewhere in that area, Guatemala. I was obviously off on the location, but I was close on how strong and when it was going to hit, and just off by a little bit. But the only reason why I made that educated guess about the earthquake was because of our current conditions of the sun and what's happening right now. And yes, there is becoming more and more proof that you can correlate seismic activity with what's going on with the sun. Now, magnetically, I'm not so sure how weak it is right now. And the reason why I say that only is because let's go back to our weather or space weather station here. Look at the bottom of your screen, folks, where it says today 8.1% high. That is the dosage rate of cosmic rays in our atmosphere. So, and you look at the 7-day change on that is a minus 0.7. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I have noticed that we are starting to see the dosage rate of cosmic rays not approach in the double digits anymore. In fact, we're starting to see this the struggle here of it trying to stay in the 9%. Now, it's still rated high. The record low amount of cosmic radiation happens during a maximum, and that's at negative 39% dosage rate. So we're still above 0, and that's high. Anything in that range is high. Now, when you say the magnetic field is strengthening, I don't understand. I thought we were, heading to grand solar minimum. The amount of cosmic radiation that is coming into our atmosphere is still quite a bit. The amount of reduction we've had in a 7-day period is not a lot. So that doesn't mean that we've seen the shields go full strength on us all of a sudden. I'm just saying we are seeing a slight bit of strengthening, and we are also noticing a slight drop in cosmic radiation dosage. But you can't tell that to the people out here in Madrid. Slow recovery after worst snowstorm since 1971. Not only did we report on the 8th from our friend Alexandru, and he gave us some video, but there was more records broken on the 9th. Capital Madrid was engulfed with a rare widespread accumulation of snow between 8 to 12 inches on Friday, January 8th, and resulting in severe traffic disruptions. Some areas in central, northern, and eastern Spain recorded up to 20 inches of snow. Nearly 700 roads and highways were impassable across the country, forcing thousands of people to spend the night in their vehicles and prompting rescue operations for a number of drivers suffering the early onset of hyperthermia. Now, the good news, if there's any good news, was that the temperatures, well, I don't know, I need to get my stats together, but they weren't as cold. And this could have been worse than what it was, folks, because these guys weren't prepared for being stranded in their car. They didn't have I'm almost if they did, then good for them for being prepared. But most likely, this area has not seen a snowstorm like this in over 50 years. So thank God that these folks were only at the very beginning of the hypothermia and not deceased, as we know of yet. But nothing that bad had to happen. But this reminds me of when Buffalo got that really bad snowstorm in 2014. Nearly 8 feet of snow fell, and people actually died overnight waiting in their cars for help. I was actually working in a company in Buffalo a couple of years ago, and they were sharing that story with me about being stranded out in cold weather and what had happened to this gentleman. Nice person who'd been there for 5 years, one of their favorite employees, and actually he got stuck on the road because he was trying to help out other people leaving work, and somehow he got left and forgot and died in his car. So that's unfortunate. In total, more than 2,500 trapped drivers were rescued by emergency workers, so they were busy the very next day. Now, in the southern parts of the country, torrential rains led to flash floods. Heavy rainfall, strong winds, and rough seas with huge waves forced the evacuation of 65 people from a ferry that ran aground while trying to approach the dock at the Gran Canaria island. Recovery was slow over the weekend due to lack of salt and snow plows, but many residents armed with picks and shovels joined municipal workers and soldiers to remove the snow from the streets. Guys, they managed to get their main roads cleared out by this past Monday. Yeah. I know, and that makes you think back a little bit, too. When you think about how quickly you wake up the next morning and you see, the streets are plowed pretty good. The main side streets look bad. You're like, oh, come on, I can't drive to work in this. These people waited almost 3 days before they could finally drive on the main roads. I know I'm appreciative for the road crews that are up here in upstate New York. They do a phenomenal job for the most part. When we got that big 33 inches of snow, this was pretty significant. In fact, guys, I'll say this. Christmas was 55, and the day before Christmas Eve was 51, and we had almost 3 inches of rain. And guess what? We still have a foot of snow on the ground. So the snow that we got back in December 17th, right around Mari's birthday, it's still on the ground for at least a foot or more. So it's been a winter wonderland, and that's typical here in the Northeast. I'm learning that slow but sure. I'm a southwestern Ohio boy, so I'm not used to that kind of snow. We get snow down in southern Ohio, it snows, it melts, and then you wait another few weeks, maybe, before you see the next 3 inches. Historic cold wave and heavy snow hit South Korea. Cold snap has gripped South Korea, bringing more than a foot of snow and prompting a cold warning in Seoul for the first time in 57 years on January 7th, 2021. Now, I find it interesting that we have cold gripping parts of Spain historically. Not only did they break snow records this week, but they also broke cold records in Spain, Madrid, Spain. And now we're talking about historic cold here in South Korea. A foot of snow in many areas, including the mountain regions. Cold wave alerts were placed everywhere, with a cold wave warning issued for the capital the first time in 57 years, as we already wrote. Here are some pictures of that heavy, beautiful snow, but again, those roads don't even look like they've been touched. Remember, Spain is just now clearing out the main roads just now. Also seeing cold temperatures, 3 degrees Fahrenheit in Seoul on Thursday morning with a wind chill. This was last week, Thursday morning, January 7th. And a wind chill of negative 25.3 Celsius, which would be 13.5 Fahrenheit for us Americans here. And, you know, they're blaming this because of the frigid air blowing in from Siberia. When we get into our GFS outlook, you're going to see that the majority, this region right here, Asia, Russia.
Hey, darling.
Yes.
Nobody can see what you're doing. We need to things.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Just been reading.
You know.
There you go. Wasn't that big of a deal.
Me or others, but I figured out.
Well, there's not really much to show, but a couple of pictures. But I get it. Sorry about that, guys. Where was I anyway? Oh, but where I think we're going to see a lot of that cold air is going to be on the other side of the northern hemisphere. Here in the U.S., we're going to see right now, from what I'm looking at, we're looking at our average winter, maybe slightly below in some spots, but the areas I've been talking about in the northern plain states, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast, those are the areas that so far are falling in line with winter, and the Northwest, of course. But other than that, we are going to continue to see these cold temperatures out there in Asia, Russia, parts of Europe as well. And then you have this powerful winter storm that slams Japan with record snow. Once again, we're talking about there is the blizzard that we spoke of on the 8th. And now here we are talking about a powerful winter storm is affecting Japan. Now, this is the same storm. It's still going on. The Hokuriku region received a record amount of snowfall on Friday in a matter of hours. In 3 hours, the parts of Hokuriku registered at least 5.9 inches of snow in just 12 hours. The Takaoka Toyama Prefecture received around 1.9 feet of snow. Toyama received 1.5 feet of snow, the highest ever for the capital of the prefecture. And as of 9 local time, January 8th, the snow cover in Himi was 6 times more than the average year and 5.5 times more than Asahi. And there's others to be reported on. According to the Fire and Disaster Management, 10 people did pass away in the snow-related incidences in Hokkaido and Tohoku and Hokuriku areas on Saturday and Sunday, January 9th and 10th, where the storm dropped 3.9 feet of snow since Saturday. So if it seems like this is like a repeat of the last show, it sort of is, because the same areas that we were talking about on the 8th are still experiencing the snow as of January 11th. And so far, we haven't heard any updates, but this is what they're dealing with, guys. Look at this. They're digging out with heavy equipment. All right. Let's move along here. Powerful winter storm hits southern U.S., leaving more than 150,000 people without power. Yeah, we're talking about parts of Texas registered 9 inches of snow, causing power outages, making travel difficult, and forcing some schools and government offices to close. Generally, around 4 to 6 inches fell apart across portions of Burleson, Brazos, Madison, and Houston counties, National Weather Service had said. A trace of 2 inches fell in portions of Washington, Grimes, Walker, and Trinity counties. A wintry mixture of rain, sleet, and snow is reported far south as the city of Houston. Lubbock received around 7.6 inches of snow yesterday, breaking the old daily snowfall record of 4.5 inches set back in 1936, almost 100 years old, folks. However, some places such as Denver City, Lamesa registered around 9 inches, Welch got about 8.5, and Hobbs picked up 8 inches of snow. Yeah, let's check it out here, folks. Got it marked down by. This is hilarious. Such a coincidence, by the way. This guy, I don't know if you guys can see this over here, but this person here is a meteorologist. His name is Jacob Riley. It's a nice name he's got. We should follow him. There, we just followed Jacob Riley. How about that? I had no idea. I just clicked on this graphic so I could see the counties that got the worst of the snow and just realized that this is Jacob Riley's account on Twitter. See, I didn't know. All right, so let's take another look. Is this from Jacob Riley as well? It is. It's another Jacob Riley showing us the snowfalls across Texas. That's pretty impressive, though, if you think about it. It is January and snow's usual, but in Texas? Yikes. And we're also expecting the snow to continue to move across the United States. Here we are, Thursday through Friday. Arrival times shown as local. Slippery roads are expected, reduced visibility, blowing and drifting. And why we think we're going to be drifting is that it's going to be really cold air up here in the northern plains. So that's going to be what they call a drier snow. It's not going to be as packable. And with the winds out there, you're going to see a lot of drifting going on. But it's not out of the question that we could see some heavier snow as well. But right now, it's going to be the easy stuff to move as far as we know. Travel days are expected and ground blizzards. All right, the heaviest snow on the order of 6 to 12 inches will be the local storm max of about 16 inches for this region. That area where the dark blue is, that's probably where you're going to see your 16 inches, and that's in the northeastern corner of Minnesota. Again, this is for Thursday and Friday. So Wisconsin, parts of the UP of Michigan, you guys will see some light snowfall, and then we'll have Wisconsin, the northern, northwestern parts, all of Minnesota to see some moderate snowfall, 3 to 6 inches, possibly a little bit more, and of course the eastern parts of the Dakotas. That's going to be on Thursday and Friday. And then Friday night into Saturday, that same system is going to rotate and move into the northeast and bring some heavy snow to the upstate New York region, along with central New York, and some light snow showers will be possible across Ohio, Pennsylvania, and other areas. There's that cold air that's going to drop there all the way down to Atlanta, Georgia, 5 to 10 degrees lower than usual. This is on Saturday. Again, if you notice in the Northeast, not that crazy as far as cold temperatures, so that's a good thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at our GFS. But again, just to recap tonight, we had space weather conditions that were favorable for what we saw an earthquake. We also saw the auroras, the high wind speeds, the solar wind speeds that also drove up the thermosphere climate index temperature to 5.91 from 5.85. And then a long line of other weather incidences that also, I think, with having highly charged particles in our atmosphere contribute to. But these are signs of GSM conditions, folks. 9 inches of snow in parts of southern Texas. Okay. Cold, 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 and more cold is on the way. That's all I see. And it is January. I get it. But we're going to see, like I said earlier, I think the majority of that cold air is going to be mainly off into Russia, parts of Europe, and Asia. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 3-day weather outlook. If I can find it here. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. It's been a while. So let's check out day 1. But we did an update on this. I don't know what's going on here, but I can't see it. Does I have to do that too? Okay, here we go. All right, so this is going to be for Tuesday, today, which is already over, so kind of pointless. So let's go ahead and check out Wednesday. Frozen precipitation across the plain states in the northwest. Some snow showers. I think those are lake effect there in the north country of New York, all the way back to Syracuse, Lake Ontario, and possible the south towns of Buffalo, Rochester, also possibility of some flakes into the capital region. Nothing major, just some light snow showers. And rain across Florida. Imagine that. I know, amazing, right? And then we look at our Thursday, and there's that system that begins to start wreaking havoc on parts of the Plain States and the Great Lakes before it moves in to the Northeast by the weekend. Let's go ahead and take a look at the GFS. The latest on the GFS, pretty cold in the Northeast and in the areas that really I've been talking about where we're going to see the majority of this cold air right now, and that's right in here. This is the area that's pretty much staying cold. We got mild temperatures across here, not a lot of action. Snow and rain moving into the Northwest. That's for Wednesday, going back into Canada, and then being a part of this. This is the reason why we will see the snow in the Midwest and the northern plain states near the Great Lakes as well. And this system becomes almost stationary for most of Friday into Saturday. Check that out. It arrives into Wisconsin early Friday, stays around for Friday morning, midday, and then into the evening it starts to break off a little bit, pushing to the east by Saturday, January 16th, into the Northeast region. Again, some snow showers, light snow for parts of southern Ohio, southwestern Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, and eastern Tennessee. I don't expect much more than 1 inch to 2 inches in most of those areas. Maybe the higher elevations in Tennessee and West Virginia will see a little bit more. Then a little bit of a lull on Saturday in the Northeast before the back end of this becomes lake effect, I think, more so on Sunday into Monday into the Northeast. Once again, a quick little clipper system coming across the Great Lakes. Could bring some lake effect snow by Tuesday into the Northeast. Not a lot of action everywhere else. If you notice, a lot of high pressure, and that usually means drier air plus colder temperatures. Now we're starting to see things pick up a little bit more on January 20th. We got a system in the Gulf that begins to make its way into the lower 48 and then catches on with this ridge and fringe. And what I mean by that is that we're going to have relatively mild temperatures. I'm not talking about shorts weather, but a few degrees above normal in these regions right here. This storm is going to go north-northeast and bring that warmth with it. So it's probably going to start off somewhat snow into rain and then back into snow. This is what I was talking about a few days ago about the volatile weather that we could see throughout January and February. There it is. Starts as snow in New York. Back into Ohio, the eastern part anyway, has a good chance of picking up a few inches of snow. Unfortunately, just all rain for you folks and fam out there in southwest Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, and all the way down into the south. This is Friday, January 22nd, my birthday, by the way, as we will see snow into that region on my birthday. So I'm okay with that. A little bit. Now, this could be like a 3 to 5. Look, we've got a foot still on the ground, so I don't need a huge amount of snow to impress me on my birthday. That's for sure. But high pressure sinking in once again across the United States. Now, this is where that polar vortex should be in full effect. So this is why we're seeing such colder air moving in. And of course, with these lines that are closer together also means windier conditions. So cold, snow, GFS likes the chances for the Northeast. Another system moving across the northern plains by the 24th into Canada, across the Great Lakes. And then another big low pressure coming from the southwest. Again, rain again for the Ohio. Maybe changing to snow by late. But this thing does a weird thing here. It dives out to the Atlantic through the mid-Atlantic states. Doesn't even go that typical trap. As a jet stream doing all kinds of funky things. But this is January 26th, so that's quite a ways out. And we got some time before we have to worry about any of that. And then basically the GFS is showing a very active pattern across the Northwest, Northern Plains, Great Lakes, and into the Northeast, where there will also be colder temperatures. It looks like regular average temperatures across the Central Plains states and to the South and the East Coast. Things are business as usual. All right, let's check out the temperatures now across the U.S. I'll just go ahead and play this map. It doesn't need to go that fast. This is January 14th into the 15th. Let's stop it right here. Excuse me. So this is where we start to see our drop of our Arctic air from that polar vortex. And there you see the northern plains states such as Dakotas, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. You are going to be seeing the coldest of the cold. The rest of the region here, temperatures at 15 degrees in Toledo, 16 in Cleveland. That's normal January temperatures. In fact, that might be a little balmy for this time of year. So the polar vortex seems to be affecting the Northeast area, North country of New York, Maine, and parts of Wisconsin and Minnesota. That's the first blast. Yes, there will be more blasts. Then we start to see a little bit colder air creeping in on the 22nd, it seems like this polar vortex has a stronger grip after the 21st of January. Before, it was thought that between the 18th and the 21st we would see it. But now we're starting to see those really Arctic cold air temperatures in parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. Also, the Dakotas and the Northeast will see some pretty cold weather as well. Then we notice one more ridge in fridge, and that is this right here, warm front. This is where that next low pressure system is coming in, and it's swirling already. Man, this could be a doozy to watch here. So we'll keep our eyes on the end of this month to see what we're looking at as far as any types of big storms. We did talk about in the last broadcast that the setup that we have right now is favorable for a big time winter storm on the East Coast and in the Northeast. This is what it looks like from the top, all right, from the North Pole if you're looking down. Notice where the coldest of the cold is, folks. Oh, they decided to update in the middle of me streaming this live. It's all right. I'll show you here in a minute. We'll get through it. This will be all worth it when it's done, right? All right. So notice how the brighter pinks are over here. And in Canada, we get some brighter peaks, but it's not quite as strong over here. Closer to the Arctic Circle it is, yes, but throughout Canada, this is not, it's cold, but not as cold. Now, if you look at here, over here in Asia, Russia, parts of Europe, I think we're going to see a lot of that colder stuff being pumped in over here for quite some time. Now, it is possible that this splits because there is rumors of another sudden stratospheric warming event that will be taking place here soon, and it could give us another push of Arctic airs. Folks, it's only January 12th. We've got a couple more months of really cold winter to go through. Right now, I'm not seeing anything too extreme. Now, we have seen things in Japan. We've seen things in Spain. We've seen things across the Alps. We've seen India. We've seen China, Korea. So really in the Asian, Russia, European, they have experienced some pretty impressive winter so far. Again, GSM is regional, especially in the very beginning of this. So one area might be getting it really bad right now, and then the next year, another region gets it. But I can promise you this, by the time we get to 2028 and 2030, I think pretty much hemispheres will be feeling the same effects if you live anywhere near the north. So right now, we're just getting this primer, if you will. Just call it like it's a primer, basically. One year we get really bad over here. Sometimes we'll be bad on both sides. But for the most part, there's no consistency to where this constant cold is going to be, except for, of course, Russia every year. But I really think that the UK has a chance at some point, too. It's seeing that cold air gripping their region. And as I'm looking at this long-term temperature outlook, we could possibly see colder temperatures by the second week of February. Hopefully not too bad, but nothing crazy at this point. But it is possible as the time goes through as far as the winter months and we get closer to spring. Question is, will we start spring on time? Will this be a long, cold winter? Is this also an indication that we've got a lot of cold to get through? Still, a lot more snow to come as well. Also. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. Actually, you know what? Just to give you an idea, let's play this real quick. I'm not leaving yet. Sorry. Getting a little too quick here. This is the 15th. Here we are in the 17th. Light snow across much of the northern United States. January 19th. The Northwest takes home the crown. Minnesota and Wisconsin so far, heavier snow. Northern parts of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire also, and Maine by the 22nd of January. Some of the mountainous areas in West Virginia pick up some heavy snow. More snow for the northern plain states, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So again, guys, we're talking these regions right here, what I've been saying this whole time. Snow and cold. This is going to be, and of course, out here in the Northwest. That's going to be our winter. Some hit or miss storms out this way as well. But we're going to see the bulk of the winter and cold right through up in here. This is actually a pretty good indicator of where we're going to see the bulk of the cold and winter weather. Almost bullseye. So What was this? That's nothing. This one right here. I just want to show ocean temperatures. I saw the other day, Scott Rose, a friend of mine from Michigan, points out, look at this little drop right here, guys. I know that doesn't look like much, but look at how much we've seen drops in the past. They're measured very, very close together. So that was kind of surprising too, because I looked through the whole region and there wasn't a lot of indication it should have dropped that much. Since then, it has risen, but it's starting to flatline again below where the average baseline is for this temperature. So this is global sea surface temperatures for the entire globe and in the oceans. Again, you know, we're not in any kind of climate emergency. This is a one-day anomaly, and where you're seeing the warm, like this is not bathwater up here, okay? Nor is it up here, and I'll show you why I'm saying this. So remember, it was warm here, a lot of cold water here. So this is how you can see La Nina still in full effect. But this is not hot tub weather by any means. I'm going to show you. Look, see that? Same area that had all that orange and red is in the white and purple. So those are single digits in centigrade, by the way, not Fahrenheit, centigrade. So pretty cold waters up here. Just because you see a bunch of orange, don't panic. Doesn't mean the world is warming. These are still cold waters. These are very cold waters, very, very chill for sure. And we still see this increase as far as the cooling of this region right here. I mean, I'm looking at temperatures 28, 29. You know, you're looking at places that are 30, closer to Australia. But, you know, that's closer to the equator. So that's to be expected right there. So I thought I'd give you guys an update real quick on that as well. I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Knife collector Jesse Vorwald, good to see you, my friend. And also Matt Bros, I saw him in here. Very enthusiastic gardener. Hello, Ben Garcia. Nice to see you out here as well. And to all of our new people here that are following tonight, thank you very much. I'm seeing a lot of new faces that I haven't seen before. Again, we really appreciate everyone's support and continuing to follow the Grand Solar Minimum. That's going to do it for us today. Until next time, folks, be safe out there, and we will talk soon. Take care.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.